everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I'd like to do some, well, quite important work on this elm, European elm. Came a long way. It has a little aphid infestation, but well, not a lot I can do about that right now. I'm just going to spray it when all the work is done. But if you remember this tree, so and I think you are now looking somewhere at the current front, well, I decided to change the front a little, like so, and tilt the tree a little, like this, so that this branch starts to become the new leader. I don't want this tree to look like a pine. It's not a pine. I want it to spread out and up and out and up so that it looks like a real deciduous tree. Now I have a few problems with this tree, and one of the biggest problems is that I have a big inverse taper here. So how does inverse taper occur? Well, because of growing material. So this branch and this branch are in the same spot. They are called bar branches, and they are of course causing this inverse taper. Now this branch is a really important branch. When we look higher up, we see a branch at this side, so this one, and there's also a kind of bar branch with that one on the back. Now I don't like that. So you see, it's really causing some kind of problems. So I decided, because these two are at the same height, that I'm not going to use this one. So off it goes. And here you see the big bulge that I need to clean up a whole lot better. So let's come closer and do that. So you see, this whole portion is a big bulge here, and this is going to be right in the camera, in your face, so it's not nice, but yeah, what can I do? So this whole big chunk of unsightly wood has to be removed now. And we're going towards the end of September. So it's almost fall, and as you see, the tree still has leaves, which means that it still can heal over a little. And yes, I'm going to use some cut paste here. Just a little bit. I like this cut paste. It has the same color as the bark. So let's have a look at the rest of the tree now. So removing that one branch obviously made a big difference for the whole tree, which was the purpose, of course. And well, it opens up everything, and now I think that I can maybe try to position some of the branches. By the way, yeah, this one's the same. I don't want that in the back as a bar branch. And also going to use some wound paste here. Like so. So this is also gone. And well, that's two important branches that are now removed, but yeah, I think that this tree has to become a little bigger, so having the first branches here, this is the first back branch, it's good enough, I think. So now I'm going to wire this tree. I'm going to open up the pads, because you see we have some things growing straight up, and it's not that I want flat pads and branches like this, no, but if I have a few branches that I can wire down, so that instead of being that way, they're going that way. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use a bright brand new wire to do that. So going to start with the branch here, and with the, well, no, let's start with this one. Okay, so it's a quite boring process, of course, seeing someone wiring a tree. So I'm going to wire that branch and we'll be back. Well, there were only 2 branches that I wanted to wire. Well, no, 2 wires that I wanted to use, so 4 branches. You know, it's good to anchor your wires. So the first branch that I wanted to change direction a little bit is this one. I wanted to come up a little more and give it some movement. Now the thing is, when you wire a deciduous tree, it's possible to do that, and it's also interesting to give the first movement on the thicker branches, but there's no use wiring every branch. So if you look at this portion here, it's going back to the tree, so I don't want that, and I don't want to remove this branch completely. That would be such a waste of growing and of time that I used to get this branch here. So that's why I'm using a wire, and I want it to come up a little more in order to start shaping this outward and upward broom style here. So in spring, or maybe just now a little bit, I'll get rid of some of these small branches that are not really doing anything for the design, like for example this one. And then I'm going to reduce everything back. But you see, this branch is now, well, still a little bit going towards the middle, but not that much anymore, and so it is now a usable. And by directional pruning, it's now going outwards. I didn't wire this back branch. I think it looks okay. You see, I have already good ramification here, and the rest I can do with clip and grow. I did wire this one, and I wired it that way. Oops, makes sense, because I wanted to give some tension this way. I always wonder if anyone understands what I'm trying to explain, because, well, so I can now apply this tension here, and you see, instead of having this branch here in the back growing straight up, it's now a little more flat, which makes it usable. And this, well, this will be clip and grow for the rest. I also wired the main branch here. Why? Well, because I want a little movement. So a little bend here, a little bend there. I have a branch here on the exterior, so of a bend, so that's good. But then I want the main trunk to come back like so. So it is very subtle, it makes a zigzag, but it won't be a straight trunk that way. Now, elms, they will just explode with growing. They do that 2 or 3 times a year. And you think it's not going to stop, I don't know what to do. And then suddenly half August here in Belgium, well, they stop and they don't do anything at all. And that's the moment where you can start looking how you want the future of your tree. Yeah, so I might just put a little wire here. Small one. No, this is it strong enough? No, it's not strong enough, so a little thicker maybe. What do I have here? Well, this one's gonna be great. Okay, so just a little extra wire. To open up this just a little, like so. Okay, so this is not good, but I will cut back. Not going to do too much fuzzy things here. I'm going to repot this tree, make sure that the angle is now where I want it, make sure that the front is where I want it, and also clean up the surface a little, add a little bit of good draining soil so that this tree is prepared for the winter. So this isn't going to be a full repot. Oh man, there's a whole ant nest in here. Well, they don't do any harm really, but I'm definitely going to try to do something about that. So this was supposed to be the new front, so I'll have to get some stuff out of this side. Well, it grew well. So I might as well trim some roots. Yeah, this is going to be a repot, no doubts. It's not going to be just a slip potting. I'll have to do some root work here. Well, then I'll just do it. So I'm going to get rid of these circling roots. And get rid of the root mat under it. For the rest, this tree has still room to grow. So I'm just going to cut back this and I'll be back. So I didn't remove a whole lot of roots. I just want this tree to be able to sit in the new pot at the right angle. So therefore I have to turn it to me to see if it is. Yeah. So I just need to get a little more stuff off this side. I think it's good. And a really little bit of stuff here. So it doesn't mean that you have to cut these roots, you just can tuck these in. And well, I'm also going to clean up a little bit of this surface here. And maybe I'm just going to do that with my plastic chopsticks, so that's not that aggressive. Because there's some fertilizer that is blocking everything. And does this tree need any more fertilizer? Well, that's completely up to the tree. I always give it fertilizer, and if it wants it, it just can eat it, and if it doesn't want it, well, it's going away. Like so. So now I'm just going to clean this up with my little brush, because I want to expose a little bit of these roots and get all the non-draining parts cleaned off. Now I'm not going to seed these roots a whole lot, because I'm going to add a fresh layer of substrate to protect it in the winter. Like so. And that's it, I think. So let's see if this will work. So I'm going to lower the camera and have a look with you. So this was the original angle, the original front, and I think it's going to be something more like this from now on, and also a little more like this. So you see that the tree is now leaning forward slightly, and well, it will cause some trouble with the root base, but I think that's going to be okay. Doesn't have to be that much, but we still have a nice radial root base. Maybe just try to tilt it a little bit that way too. Yeah, so that the root plane is really nice and tight here. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. I will plunge this tree in a bucket of water for a few minutes while I'm preparing the pot. So I'm going to use the same pot, and I'm going to add a little layer of draining stuff. Well, anyway, it does not really matter because my soil is always well draining. So this is a mixture of 2/3 well draining stuff, which is a little bit of pumice, cat litter, lava rock, all these things. I also wetted my rock with moss. Yep. And then we have the tree, which has been sitting in the water. And now I need to put it in the pot to then be sure that it is where I want it. So I said a little more like this. I'm going to add a little bit of substrate there, and also in the back. So this was the tilt that I wanted, and now I think it has to be a little bit higher everywhere. So I'm just going to add a uniform layer everywhere. So let's have a look at that. Now that's too much, I think, in the back. The lean is a little bit too much here, so I'll do that. I think that's what I need almost. So maybe just the angle here. Let's have a look without the tray because it's not helping. I think the angle is good, the position in the pot is good, but it's too high. There's too much substrate. I have to redo this. Let's see. Now I don't like the angle here. Well, I'll get there. Eventually. Oh, that looks a little better. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to fill this up with a substrate now, and then of course we will be back to see how it looks. I'm really happy with how the tree is now in the pot. I think the deadwood here looks really nice. I like deadwood on deciduous trees. I also, while I was repotting, lifted a little bit the front roots, which caused maybe a little damage, but I don't think it is too bad. Because I changed the angle, of course some of the roots here in the back are now a little bit too high, so I tried to put them a little lower, but I don't think that I really did a great job with that. But on the other hand, I noticed that I have really too much high roots here. So I'm going to remove just a couple of these too crazy things, which will lower the root base. And well, what you have when you do that is that you encourage the lower roots to grow. And this one is really a big root, and it's not a nice one because you see it's just crossing the others. So I'll remove that completely. And obviously that changes a lot. And because these elms are such wild growers, I don't think that this will be a problem. Like so. So now I just need to reposition my rock that has been sitting in the bucket here, well, in the pot with water. Therefore I need to maybe get a little bit of this soil off. So let's bring the camera in. So I'll do that with my brush. Because I want this rock here. Like so. And here he is, complete with moss and everything. That's too much moss. Okay. So the moss goes back in the water and the root goes a little more in the back, like so. Now I need to put a little bit of free draining substrate right on top of everything. It will hide the roots, but fall is coming, winter is coming, so a little bit of protection is not bad. Now this will all settle in. The too much stuff I'm going to remove by just doing this and using the flat part of this brush. Of course, I'm just going to try to get everything nicely between the roots, and maybe some of the roots will be slightly exposed, and that's how I want it to look. So this is going to take a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back for a final shot. So the tree has been soaking in the water for, well, 10 to 20 minutes, the time that I needed to clean up this table. And I must say I'm really happy with the result. I removed a little crossing root here, which was high again, because I saw that there was and there still are some roots that I probably can remove and will, but best to do that when the tree is growing actively again, so it's going to be okay for the winter now. Because everything is soaking wet, it's difficult to see the roots here, but they are really there. I'm also quite happy with the position of the tree. It's leaning forward, but just ever so slightly, so that's good. There is a subtle movement in the trunk which will make it interesting. Probably I'm going to try to keep these branches in this position for the winter. So I'm just going to try to tuck them somewhere for the coming month or so that these branches are not pointing too upward, but a little bit in that direction. For the rest, this portion, this main trunk, this and this branch can grow a whole lot freely, and then probably cut back somewhere in May, I think, but we'll see how it works. Was this the best time to repot this tree? Well, probably not, but I was completely tired of having to look at the tilted front and at the other angle. And as you saw, we did not remove too much roots. Would I do that with every species? I don't think so, but elms, that's okay. So I'm not going to cut back anything here, just going to spray it for the aphids. Because now is the time that the tree is gaining all its vigor and storing its power for the next spring. So that's it, little 360 to conclude this video. So if you want to see how this project started, it was with an air layer, quite a big and straight and well, air layer with no taper, and then the tree died off because I did grafts. You cannot do too much grafts with elms. I've been well, that's my experience. So, well, that's not bad that this happens. The tree is now a whole lot more interesting. So that's it for today. If you like this, please like, share, subscribe, etc. Thank you for watching and see you next time.